So you've got too many interests. You want to be a designer and a writer. You're fascinated by psychology and technology. You love teaching, but you're also drawn to entrepreneurship. Maybe you've started a dozen different courses, bought books on 5 different subjects, and your browser tabs read like a library catalog gone rogue. And every career quiz you've ever taken has left you more confused than when you started. Your friends have it figured out. Sarah's been on the accounting track since college. Mike knew he wanted to be a lawyer at age 12. Meanwhile, you're lying awake at night wondering if you should go back to school for the third time, or if this new business idea is finally the one, or if you're just broken somehow. Here's what nobody tells you: this isn't a problem to fix, it's a pattern to leverage. The traditional career path was built for specialists. Pick one thing, get good at it, climb that ladder, retire with a gold watch and a clear identity. But that model, it was designed for an industrial economy that no longer exists. And people like you, people with range, with curiosity, with multiple passions, you're actually positioned for the future of work in ways that specialists simply aren't. So let's talk strategy. Real strategy, not the kind that tells you to just focus or find your passion. Not the advice that makes you feel like you need to amputate parts of yourself to succeed. Let's talk about how to navigate your career with all those interests intact. First, stop looking for the one perfect career. It doesn't exist, not for you. And honestly, for most people in 2025, it doesn't exist for them either. They just haven't realized it yet. The average person will have 12 to 15 different jobs across their lifetime. Entire industries are being created and dissolved within a decade. The career you train for today might not exist in its current form in 5 years. So, why are we still pretending that picking one lane and staying in it is the safe, smart choice? Instead, start thinking in terms of career portfolios. What if your work life could hold multiple projects, multiple identities, multiple revenue streams? Picture this: you're a freelance designer 3 days a week. That's your anchor, your stable income, your expertise, your credibility. But you also teach online courses 2 evenings a month. That's your teaching interest satisfied, plus passive income building over time. And you're writing a newsletter about design thinking applied to everyday life. That's your writing outlet, your audience building, your future opportunities. 3 different activities, one cohesive career, each one feeds the others. Your teaching makes you a better designer because you have to articulate your process. Your writing attracts better clients because they understand how you think. Your design work gives you case studies for your teaching. This isn't side hustle culture, this isn't rise and grind. This is strategic portfolio building, and it's how you stay engaged, adaptable, and financially resilient. Second, look for the intersections. Your unique combination of interests, that's not a liability. That's your competitive advantage in a crowded marketplace. Think about it. The world has plenty of graphic designers. It has plenty of people interested in mental health, but how many designers understand the psychology of healing and can create materials for therapists? How many people combine data science and environmental policy and storytelling? These intersection points, these weird specific combinations that only you have, that's where you become irreplaceable. There's a concept called skill stacking from Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. He argues that you don't need to be the best in the world at any one thing. You just need to be pretty good at 2 or 3 things that don't usually go together. That combination is what makes you valuable. So stop seeing your interests as competing priorities. Start seeing them as ingredients. What do you get when you combine your love of fitness with your background in software development? Maybe you build apps for physical therapists. Maybe you create content about the intersection of movement and productivity. Maybe you consult with gyms on their digital strategy. The intersection is where the magic happens. It's where you stop competing with thousands of people doing the same thing and start operating in a category of one. Third, build T-shaped or M-shaped skills. Stay with me here, because this framework will change how you think about your career. T-shaped skills mean you have depth in one area, that's the vertical line of the T, and breadth across multiple areas, that's the horizontal line. So you might be deep in software engineering, but you also know enough about design, marketing, and user research to collaborate effectively and see the bigger picture. M-shaped skills, that's the multi-passionate person's dream. You have depth in 2 or maybe 3 different areas, with breadth connecting them. You're deep in both writing and data analysis, or teaching and business strategy, or healthcare and technology. Here's why this matters. The depth gives you credibility and income stability. When someone needs an expert, you can deliver. You have the skills to charge professional rates. You're not a dabbler. You're genuinely good at something. But the breadth, that's what makes you adaptable. When your industry shifts, you don't have to start over. You just pivot to a different part of your skill set. When you want to explore something new, you're not starting from zero, you're building on an existing foundation. Let's make this concrete. Say you're a teacher who's always been interested in technology. You don't quit teaching to become a programmer. Instead, you start learning about educational technology. You figure out how to use AI tools in your classroom. You start creating digital curriculum. Suddenly, you're not just a teacher, you're an ed tech specialist. Your teaching expertise gives you credibility. Your tech skills make you valuable. And when a company wants to build learning software, guess who they want to hire? Someone who understands both education and technology. That's the M shape in action. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the fear. The fear that you're being unrealistic, that you're just afraid to commit, that you're making things harder than they need to be. I get it, because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. This path is messier. You won't have a clean LinkedIn headline. When people ask what you do at parties, you'll give them a 3-sentence explanation and watch their eyes glaze over. You'll have moments of doubt when you see your specialist friends getting promoted, buying houses, building retirement accounts, while you're juggling 3 different projects and wondering if any of them will pan out. There will be moments when you envy people who just knew, who picked a thing at 22 and stuck with it, who have a clear professional identity and a straightforward answer to what do you do. Your parents might not understand what you do. Your resume might confuse HR departments. You might miss out on jobs because you don't fit neatly into their boxes. And yes, there's a real risk of becoming a jack of all trades, master of none, of spreading yourself so thin that you're not actually good at anything, of chasing every shiny object until you've built nothing substantial. These fears are valid. This path isn't for everyone, and it genuinely is harder in some ways. But here's what you get in return. You get to stay interested. That might sound trivial, but it's not. Staying interested, staying curious, engaged, excited about your work, that's the foundation of a sustainable career. It's what keeps you learning when others stagnate. It's what makes you show up with energy when others are just going through the motions. You get to keep learning. And in an economy where the half-life of skills is shrinking every year, being someone who loves learning, that's not a quirk. That's a superpower. You get to pivot without starting over. Because every skill you build connects to the next thing. That marketing experience, it helps you launch your coaching practice. That writing habit, it becomes your content strategy when you start consulting. That technical background, it helps you understand AI tools before your competition does. Nothing is wasted. Every interest, every skill, every random thing you learned, it all becomes part of your toolkit. You get resilience. When one industry contracts, you have others to fall back on. When one income stream dries up, you have others already flowing. When one identity becomes obsolete, you have others to step into. And you get to design a career that actually fits who you are. Instead of cutting off parts of yourself to fit into someone else's job description, instead of pretending to be fascinated by something that bores you, instead of building a life that looks good on paper but feels hollow in practice. So, how do you actually do this? Let's get tactical. Start with an anchor. You need one thing that pays the bills reliably while you explore. This might be a full-time job in one of your interest areas. It might be a freelance skill you've already developed. It might be a part-time position that gives you stability and benefits. The anchor isn't forever, but it gives you the security to explore without panic. It's hard to be strategic about your career when you're constantly worried about rent. Then experiment in protected time. Block out specific hours for your other interests. Maybe it's Saturday mornings. Maybe it's an hour before work. Maybe it's one full day a week if you can negotiate a 4-day work schedule. Treat this time as sacred. This is where you're building your future, even if it doesn't feel like real work yet. Build in public. Share what you're learning. Write about your experiments. Create a portfolio of your multidisciplinary projects. Let people see the connections you're making. This does 2 things. First, it attracts opportunities. Someone sees your unique combination of skills and thinks, That's exactly what we need. Second, it forces you to articulate the through line in your work. When you have to explain how your interests connect, you start to see the patterns more clearly yourself. Create systems, not just goals. Don't just say, I want to learn photography and improve my Spanish and start a podcast. That's a recipe for overwhelm. Instead, every Monday, I take one photo and post it with a caption in Spanish about what I'm learning in my podcast interviews. One system, three interests, integrated, track your energy, not just your time. You might spend 40 hours a week at your anchor job and only 5 hours on your side projects. But where does your energy go? What lights you up? What drains you? Your career portfolio should be designed around your energy patterns, not just your time. Sometimes the side thing that takes up 10% of your time is actually 50% of your fulfillment, and be patient with the emergence. Your multi-passionate career won't reveal itself all at once. You won't wake up one day with perfect clarity about how everything fits together. It emerges. One project leads to another. One connection reveals an opportunity. One skill unexpectedly becomes valuable in a new context. Give it time, give it space, trust the process. Now, your strategy will look different depending on where you are in life. If you're early career, in your 20s, maybe early 30s, this is your time to explore widely. Yes, you need to build some depth somewhere, but don't panic about wasting time on interests that seem unrelated. You're not wasting time, you're building your unique skill stack. Take the opportunities that let you learn multiple things. The startup job, where you'll wear 5 different hats, the role that's 70% in your comfort zone and 30% stretch. The project that combines 3 of your interests, even if it doesn't pay much. You're building your foundation. Make it wide. If you're mid career, 30s, 40s, maybe 50s, you probably have some depth already. Now you're looking at how to leverage it differently or add new dimensions. This is where strategic pivots happen. You're not starting over, you're building on what you have. Look for roles that need your specific combination, positions that value maturity and versatility, opportunities to mentor or teach while you're still practicing. Consider, could you go fractional? Work as a consultant in your main expertise while building something else? Could you negotiate a portfolio career within your current organization? If your later career, 50s, 60s, beyond, the multi-passionate approach might actually be your retirement plan. Not stopping work entirely, but creating a portfolio of meaningful activities that engage different parts of you. Some paid, some volunteer, some intellectual, some physical, some social, some solitary. You have the experience and often the financial flexibility to design this intentionally. What combination of activities would make you excited to wake up? Here's what I want you to understand. The world is moving toward portfolio careers whether we're ready or not. The gig economy, the creator economy, the rise of fractional executives. The normalization of career changes, the dissolving boundaries between industries. All of this is creating space for people like you. For decades, you've been told you're too scattered, too unfocused, too much, that you need to pick a lane and commit. But what if you were just early? What if your natural way of being, curious, multifaceted, interested in connections between things, what if that's actually the skill set the future needs most? The complex problems we're facing don't fit into neat disciplinary boxes. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's economic, political, technological, social. Healthcare isn't just medical, it's about data, design, policy, behavior change. Education isn't just teaching, it's about psychology, technology, community, economics. We need people who can see across boundaries, who can translate between domains, who can spot patterns that specialists miss because they're too deep in their own field. That's you. Your multiple interests aren't a bug in your personality. They're not a sign of indecision or lack of focus or failure to grow up. They're your operating system. And the most fulfilling career you can build, it's one that runs on that system, not against it. So stop trying to choose. Start trying to combine. Stop apologizing for your curiosity. Start leveraging it. Stop forcing yourself into boxes that were never designed for someone like you. Start building your own structure. The career you're looking for isn't out there waiting to be found in some job posting. It's not hiding in the next career quiz or the next degree program. It's something you're going to have to create. And that's exactly the kind of problem someone like you is built to solve. You've got this. Not because it'll be easy, not because you'll have it all figured out tomorrow, but because you're someone who's interested in the world, who sees connections, who keeps learning. And in the end, that's the only career strategy that really matters.